it's not that I don't think Muslims get like unfairly targeted. Just everyone gets targeted nowadays. So it's just like, yes, after 9/11, I think right after that, it definitely got a little bit tough for a lot of Muslims. I think it was like severe targeting at that time. I think now, well, I don't think it's as bad as it used to be. Still, every once in a while, you'll experience something like maybe me because of my beard, like you'll get like a look or something, or someone will just throw a comment, but it's nothing to the point where I'm like hurt, like, oh my god, like how could you say that?
I just want to add, I think it's a little different for students who, like kids who are in school. I tutor a lot of them. I've had like students who have told me, like even like the past year, like how they have had they were
Jad, he doesn't let what Goofy say negatively affect him. He doesn't let the castigatory statements, the discriminatory, the hateful statements that non-Muslims say to him. He doesn't let the statements negatively affect him, man. That's
maybe because my beard,
that's to be venerated.
Like
I
like
venerate
or something,
his.
or someone will just throw a comment, but it's nothing to the point where I'm like hurt, like, oh my god, like how could you say that?
I just want to add, I think it's a little different for students who, like kids who are in school. I tutor a lot of them. I've had like students who have told me, like even like the past year, like how they have had they were discriminated against. And so I would say that, like, I think it still exists.
What I found for the most part is it definitely, like, even when I was in school, like, yeah, I got made fun of or whatever. People would do jokes that terrorist jokes or whatever. But once I was the type of person, I wouldn't just sit down and like let someone make that joke about me. Someone made this exact joke in school and like about like a bomb blowing up or something because we were watching a documentary. And so in front of the whole class, I addressed them. I addressed the reason why did you make that
bravely,
joke.
intrepidly,
I explained my point of view.
Stood
and
up.
then he got expelled. So
yeah, man. Salute to Jad for bravely standing up to these bullies, man. These bullies.
Bomb blowing up or something because we were watching a documentary. And so in front of the
checking
whole class, I addressed them.
these
the
clowns.
Why did you make that joke? I explained my point of view, and then he got expelled.
You got to stand up to the bullies.
If you just let them make these jokes about you, bomb blowing up or something because we were watching a documentary. And so
he had the courage. He had
the reason why did you make that joke?
He did not have trepidation.
And then he got expelled. Like, yeah, I got made fun of or whatever.
Decided to stand up. He stood
jokes or whatever.
Up.
But once
he did not allow these people to treat him any type of way or say anything to talk to him any type of way. I salute my man Jad for having
students who have told me, like even like the past year, like how they have had they were discriminated against. And so I would say that, like, I think it still exists.
It's nothing to the point where I'm like hurt, like, oh my god, like how could you say that?
I just want to add, I think it's a little different for students who, like kids who are in school. I tutor a lot of them. I've had like students who have told me, like even like the past year, like how they have had they were discriminated against. And so I would say that, like, I think it still exists.
What I found for the most part is it definitely, like even when I was in school, like, yeah, I got made fun of or whatever. People would do jokes that like terrorist jokes or whatever. But once I was the type of person, I wouldn't just sit down and like let someone make that joke about me. Someone made this exact joke.
They were clowns when in the past. The people that bullied Jad, I don't know. They could have changed for the better. If they did, they're not clowns anymore. But they were back in the day.
Someone made
Straight
this
up.
exact joke in school, and like
I hope they transformed for the better and became more mature.
In front of the whole class, I addressed them. I addressed the reason why did you make that joke. I explained my point of view.
Saying horrible, nasty things about Muslims, about Muslims.
A joke about me. Someone made this exact joke in school, and like about like a bomb blowing up or something because we were watching a documentary. And so in front of the whole class, I addressed them. I addressed the reason why did you make that joke. I explained my point of view, and then he got expelled. So I think if you just let them make these jokes about you, and you just sit back and kind of take it, then the bully's just gonna keep on attacking them.
Yes, bro. What you allow will continue. What you allow what you allow will continue. That's facts. That's facts. What you allow will continue. You have to set strong boundaries with people. You have to set strong boundaries with people. With people. If you don't, then if you don't, then it will become worse. The mistreatment will continue, the abuse will continue until you do something, until you stand up to these bullies, until you check these people. It will continue to happen. The abuse, the mistreatment, the belief that they can treat you any type of way is going to continue. It's going to continue. So you got to be brave. You got to have balls. You got to have nuts. You got to have self-respect. You got to, yeah, bro. You got to let people know that you are nobody to play with, bro. You cannot talk to me any type of way and get away with it. Nah, bro. There has to be mutual respect. If you cannot do that, if you cannot reciprocate respect, then then I gotta distance myself, because it's about, you gotta respect yourself first. You gotta love yourself, yourself first. That doesn't mean you should be hateful towards other people, that you should not care about other people. That doesn't mean that you don't have love for other people, but you gotta. Everything starts with self. Everything starts with self, with self. So you gotta respect yourself. You gotta make sure you are good first and foremost. Foremost.
Joke about
foremost.
Someone made this exact joke in school, and about a bomb blowing up or something, because we were watching a documentary. And so in front of the whole class, I addressed them. I addressed the reason why did you make that joke. I explained my point of view, and then he got expelled. So I think if you just let them make these jokes about you, and you just sit back and kind of take it, then
it's gonna get worse.
Keep on attacking.
Yeah.
You definitely handled that situation better than I did.
You gotta let them know you are not sweet. You are not sweet. You are not sweet. It's
so I think if you just let them make these jokes about you, and you just sit back and kind of take it, then
it's not sweet.
Keep on attacking that.
You cannot do me any type of way.
I did as a kid, because in an elementary school, someone called me in PE class. He called me a terrorist. I said, if I was a terrorist, you would be dead right now. And what happened was, I got a 1-day suspension.
Wow.
He got a lunch detention.
That's crazy.
I think it's important to note, while I think there's definitely some validity in what you're saying for sure, it's important to stand up for yourself, for your beliefs, for your religion.
Indubitably.
I think we need to acknowledge that it's not always that easy. And
it's not easy, but it's possible. Don't make it.
The opposite.
I don't think it's wise to make excuses, but I see what he's saying. I really do see what he's saying.
To stand up for yourself,
but
for your beliefs, for your
you got to be brave.
We need to acknowledge that it's not always that easy. And there's definitely circumstances.
It's difficult, but it's possible.
The opposite is true. I think there's just as much true that somebody can go through
their
life
soft.
and it will get worse for them, because even so early on, we're talking about times we were young children and we were exposed to these horrible, pejorative things, and maybe those people have circumstances where when they go through life, it's just going to get worse.
So he's saying it's a double-edged sword.
There's going to be more reasons for them to come at it in a way that's dangerous.
Regardless, you will negative things will happen regardless, and if you stand up or not. That's what he's saying. It's a double-edged sword.
It's just going to get worse. They're gonna have even more. There's going to be more reasons for them to come at it in a way that's dangerous.
My personal desires do not have a place in Islamic faith.
For me, other than the
early on, we're talking about times were young children, we were exposed to these horrible pejorative things, and maybe those people have circumstances where when they go through life, it's just going to get worse. They're going to have even more hatred. There's going to be more reasons for them to come at it in a way that's dangerous.
My personal desires do not have a place in Islamic faith.
For me, other than like the obvious, I'm part of the LGBT community. I was raised Muslim, and I felt like I didn't have decisions or choices growing up. And when it came to Islam, I remember I questioned things in my religion class. I remember like the imam told me like women, when you go to Hajj, you can't wear like body spray, right, or perfume. And I raised my hand during my religious class, and I asked why. And I always got met with, well, because the Quran says so. Like, be quiet, Janet's a problematic kid asking me questions. I just feel like there's no room really there, even without the LGBT community part of me. Like, what you want kind of, it felt like doesn't matter.
You have to be a
There's
puppet.
No room for it. It's just, it is what it is, and you need to obey it.
At the
You
end
have
of
to
the day,
obey.
if you commit a sin and you don't,
You have to blindly.
Allah is going to punish you.
You have to be obsequious, brown nosing, placating, mollifying.
It does not matter what you want. If it goes against what Allah says, then you are risking having your bones crushed in.
Apostasy.
Or you are risking having your skin
Tergiversation.
burned off your face. It doesn't matter how illogical you think it is. If you believe
You will get called a traitor,
and you go
a
against
kafir,
you are putting yourself at a huge risk of a lot of pain.
of punishment.
Yeah, I think it's not that it doesn't have room for our desires, because it does. It just doesn't have room for our compulsions. And I heard this quote, someone said, my religion is perfect, but I am not. You have to allow Islam to teach you that you blur the lines between your desires and your compulsions and the things that you actually need out of life. So it's really hard to be connected to God if you're connected to all these things that are calling you, pulling you different directions.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So, does your standard for haram and halal vary at all? What would you base your standard off of? How were you taught those standards?
I learned them from Quran or from my upbringing, like if I don't know.
So I think everything you're saying is valid, and I think you can also believe all these things, even just like outside of Islam. Like I think these principles have existed like throughout time, other religions, other philosophies,
Commonalities.
And so my question is like, when it comes to the more
it goes beyond religion.
Confusing, like I was raised, I'm not allowed to eat pork. Okay, so that's a. And I'm sure, nobody. Right, and so I think at one point somebody told me that was because they're not safe to eat, or like it's dirty.
The pigs lying.
There are
feces, their own
like,
feces.
you can definitely live your life that way, but my question is like, at what point do you question those nuances, those like
unclean
No,
50s?
First, I question why I'm questioning it. It's like, why do I want to have a different answer than what's written here? First, I question that, and then I'll do research and I'll say, okay, well, how were people living like before my time, before my parents, before my grandparents, and why did they choose to eat this animal? Well, maybe because it eats its own fecal matter, or it eats its children, or its own fetus and stuff like that.
Well, I understand what I'm saying is like, how do you deal with the logic of it? Because there's many ways to argue around.
So essentially, there's a lot of things that you may not understand why something. Essentially, what you're saying is, if something is not allowed and you don't understand why it's not allowed, how do you kind of go about being okay with this thing not being allowed? If God is telling us not to do something or to do something, even if we don't understand the wisdom behind it, it's the fact that we know that He's the most knowledgeable, so we trust in the fact that whatever He's telling us to do or not to do, that is the best thing for us.
Blind loyalty.
Yeah. So
in terms of because we believe that He is the most knowledgeable, so I do question, obviously, if something I don't understand something, I'll ask someone with more knowledge, and if they can't give me an answer as to why something is the way that it is, then we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet know what's best, and at that point, I believe, put my faith in God. That's what faith is.
There's just a small hiccup in both of your like scientific method here, which is that why am I questioning, and then there's your part. If I don't get the right answer, an answer that makes sense to me, I keep asking, but if you don't get it, then there's this kind of cognitive dissonance that now needs to exist.
I think like a good way to put it is like part of existing as a human being is questioning everything. That's how we
question religion, question it all. Jay-Z on Heaven.
I want to add something really quick. I know that like there's been a lot of questions with what he said, especially you guys saying like that's blind faith. I think that there is like I see your point, but there's a lot of merit, and like I agree that like meaning of life is questioning things. However,
I see what everybody is
If
saying.
you keep questioning everything, you're going to have the most doubtful, horrible,
in response to this prompt.
The entire universe. The goal of life is to be in peace, right? So I think that like we can only question some of the things, and I think personally, from my questioning, I have found the answers to which that has led me to trust the God that I believe in, and that is why I also believe in the other things that he tells me to subscribe to because I believe that is good for me. So it's not always that every Muslim or anybody who subscribes to religion is like blindly believing in everything.
Gullibly or naively.
A trusting relationship with that
over
God or that religion or that ideology, and therefore they choose to subscribe to other ideals.
I totally relate. There's a lot of insecurity here. There's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of thinking. I think it is a much more difficult and much more noble path to take. Through the chaos, through the unknown,
the incertitude, the uncertainty,
the lack of prescription, through questioning, rather than just kind of taking the carrot and the stick of heaven and hell and saying that that's, those are my answers and that brings me comfort. I think that there are paths to being a good human outside of religion, and I believe earnestly that those paths are much
religiosity doesn't equate to morality. I said this multiple times before. I said this in a rap that I did in a rap that I spat before years ago.
There are paths to being a good human.
Religion doesn't equate to
and I believe
morality.
That those paths are much harder to take.
My question to you would be like, where do you draw the line?
We all draw the line where our morality is.
There's bad and good people in every religion, in every community, in every group. You can be in every group. There's horrible people that are religionists. There's good people that are atheists, that are non-religionists. So it's not good to lump all people under the same umbrella as if they're all they're all low vibrational devilish people.
There are paths.
Atheism doesn't equate to devilishment.
A good human outside of
Islam,
religion, and I believe earnestly that those paths are much harder to take.
My question to you would be like, where do you draw the line?
We all draw the line where our morality.
There's good and bad
seeds. There's like a general
in
sense
every religion, every community.
Yeah, right. So I'm saying if we were all left to just decide what is okay and what is not okay, do you guys not see that it would just be left to individual opinions?
No, I think there's like a pretty basic understanding just as a human of what's right and wrong. I'm just a really scientific person. I'm gonna do my research. I have engineers.
Do your due diligence. Seek the truth.
Yeah, so it's my different kind of piece. I don't think people are just atheists or non-religious people are running rampant without a set of rules. I think just to be a good person, religion aside, there's just pretty standard things that you should just follow.
Abide
I see your
by.
point of view, and I think that that's why, like, what she said and what you said, like, I understand both of you so equally, because I feel like at
people don't have to be rigid, inflexible, radical, extreme.
I felt like Islam put so much like
there's radicalism
like,
in every
if I did something,
group.
I felt like a really anxious person. But then
I got told that for no longer believing in a higher power that I will go to hell. But it's crazy, bro. It's wild, bro.
Because I feel like at parts of my life I struggled with feeling so much guilt. Like I felt like Islam put so much like guilt on me of like, oh, if I did something.
I wasn't
like a really
Muslim. I was.
But then once I actually started becoming closer to God, I had a safer relationship with Him.
My family members were Christian.
And I
certain
believe that,
ones.
like, no, first, like, God is here for me. Like, there were so many times in my life I felt so alone. And, like, when I read the Quran, like, I really feel that now that, like, no matter who is hurting me, like, why like what she said and what you said, like I understand both of you so equally because I feel like at parts of my life I struggled with feeling so much guilt. Like I felt like Islam put so much like guilt on me of like, oh, if I do this, I'm gonna go to hell. I felt like a really anxious person. But then once I actually started becoming closer to God, I had
I used to believe in a Christian God,
and I believe that like no,
I did not follow Islam.
Like God is here for me. Like there were so many times in my life I felt so alone.
I followed
and, like,
Christianity.
Quran, like, I really feel
in the
that
past
now
before,
that like no matter who
when I
is
was
with
younger.
me, like Allah's with me. And I think that has been like something that has made me really strong. So I think that like yes, people have a moral compass, but at the end of the day,
I don't follow
like,
any religion
studies,
right
like,
now.
It is dependent on culture.
I no longer follow a religion.
Guidance, people will still create one. That was a beautiful.
I don't think that I need to follow a religion to be moral, to be righteous, to be that's me though.
Yes, people have a moral compass, but at the end of the day,
I am still cool with a lot of religionists that certain friends that I met in college. Bro, I respect them, bro. I don't hate them. I don't look at them. I don't think they're inferior. Bro.
I really feel that now that like
I still talk to a lot of people that are that follow that are religionists.
That has made me really strong. So I think that like yes, people have a moral compass, but at the end of the day, like as I know from my studies, like it is dependent on culture, and if they're
we don't have to agree on everything to be friends, to be cool with each other, to be cool with each other, to respect each other. Facts.
Or them. And I believe that like no, first
you can still be friends with a person that follows a different religion or is in a different group,
and like when I read the
or
Quran,
is in a different community.
I really feel that now that like no matter who is hurting me, like or them, and I believe that like no, first like God is here for me. Like but then once I actually started becoming closer to God, I had a safer relationship with Him.
Aside, there's just pretty standard things that you should just follow.
I see your point of view, and I think that that's why like what she said and what you said, like I understand both of you so equally because I feel like at parts of my life I struggled with feeling so much guilt. Like I felt like Islam put so much like guilt on me of like, oh, if I do this, I'm gonna go to hell. I felt like a really anxious person. But then once I actually started becoming closer to God, I had a safer relationship with Him or them, and I believe that like no, first like God is here for me. Like there were so many times in my life I felt so alone, and like when I read the Quran, like I really feel that now that like no matter who is hurting me, like Allah's with me. And I think that has been like something that has made me really strong. So I think that like yes, people have a moral compass, but at the end of the day, like as I know from my studies, like
you can have discipline, you can have logicality without following a religion. Yes, I agree.
So much.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yo, that was fire. Shout out to everybody in that debate, man. Yeah, I am not a Muslim, but I respect a plenitude of Muslims.